think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust friends.
Fuck him, fuck you.
Yeah, I'd throw my middle fingers up, but like this is an audio medium, so I just got to come out real hard.
Yeah. That's
Apparently,
nice.
this makes me popular.
Yeah, this is what sells.
Yeah. Also,
Among other things.
yeah, we should. Whoever's listening to this, like the chosen few who's tuning in today, tell other people to listen to us. Our numbers are stagnating. We are stagnant here on the.
We're dead in the water.
Yeah. It goes a little bit up and a little bit down, and it just stays like baseline. And you know what? And I think that's your fault, audience, not ours. I mean,
don't make us review Bluey or something to get more popular.
Yeah, well, that's kind of actually what we're here to do today. I think in its own sort of way. I think this is what we're going to be reviewing is the equivalent of reviewing Bluey, because
we're back at it.
Yeah, we haven't done a lot of Transformers. We did our Transformers the movie audio commentary, which is beloved by the nations.
It is.
I'm pretty sure
Beloved by me. I'd like to be in a play where like I just wear a gray tracksuit and do Megatron's voice.
Oh my goodness! And just like an aluminum tube on your arm.
That's black. It. But pretty minimal though.
Yeah.
Like low effort. Like if you were nonsense. Yeah, you could wear blue track pants and like a red sweater and be Optimus.
Like a blue bucket on my head. Yeah, that'd be fucking dope. I think. I don't see any reason for us not to do it now. I think we can talk after the episode, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we've done that, and of all the other fucking things on Transformers that we've done is Michael Bay, and not even like we did Dark of the Moon.
Oh yeah.
Which is like good. That was a good one, but I was just surprised.
To me, that was kind of the Dark of the Moon was kind of the Michael Bay money shot for me. It was like sort of the end of the trilogy where he just expended his last load, and then it just went into madness after that. Yeah. So that's a good choice.
Yeah, given how much we love the Transformers, though, like we've done more episodes devoted to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles than we have to the Transformers.
The Transformers is hard to find good content.
That's not. I think we're lazy. I think we're lazy scum.
That's true.
Just like our fucking audience.
Oh my god.
Okay, all right. To your point. Okay, so. There are Simon Furman Transformers, like those Marvel UK comics, which I've read a ton of those, and like there's so much to talk about there. There's 332 issues, and then there's the stuff that he did with Image. I think it was Image. There was that period when like it was before IDW got it, or maybe it was Boom got a hold of it. Fuck, I should have looked this up. But there was that period where they had like. In the early 2000s when a different person got the license, and some of that stuff's maybe meh, but mostly like the driving force behind Transformers comics has been a guy named Simon Furman, and the only other run, and maybe we'll talk more about that later, is James Roberts' run. He did like over 70 issues. Those comics, like I'll characterize them as safe space Transformers, but not in a derogatory way. Like he was doing that before. He just made the Transformers really gay, and about relationships, and in a way about gay relationships. I've not read those comics because I found the art like completely impenetrable. It was just not interesting. I couldn't tell what was happening from page to page, and there were too many words. And I was like, okay, this is popular, so whatever.
And then also make it exclusively about. I feel like that's weird choice.
Well, okay, so to be fair, I haven't read all of it. Like, I understand. Yeah, I understand there's a lot of really awesome stuff, but on the other hand, like it was a lot of the discourse around it, the discoursing was about the gay elements. I was reading, just out of curiosity, before we got to this conversation, I was trying to go back, and I was like, I remember that James Roberts run, like what was going on there? And I found a blog run and a blog entry, like review of the whole series. And like literally the first sentence was like, this run of like James Roberts' run of Transformers is very gay, like that's the first thing they
Okay.
said. Yeah. So I was like, okay, my memory is accurate of that.
That's funny that you would take Warbots and go that route.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little curious. I'd like to, I know we're not the best people to tackle that material, but I'd like to tackle more of the classic Transformers runs, because this thing reminded me. What are we talking about today? This Skybound things, this new Transformers series by what's this fucking
Daniel Warren Johnson?
Yeah, okay. Daniel Warren Johnson's writing it, and the illustrated by.
He's also the illustrator.
Oh, I see. Later issues are illustrated by someone else though, Karina, or I didn't realize.
Oh yeah, George Corona.
Yeah.
Jorge.
Okay. Jorge. Yeah.
George.
Yeah, you're right. I apologize. So for the first 6 issues, I guess it's all this dude, and
what a fucking vision.
Yeah, he's definitely got like a vibe, but it's reminiscent of the reason I brought all that blah 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 talk up is because like I see a lot of the Simon Furman, and I see what I understand from James Roberts, and I see the original cartoon, and I see the movie, the original animated movie, and then I also see like Transformers Prime. Like it's a real amalgamation of the Transformers mythos, but it manages to be its own thing at the same time. Like we get a new Spike, we get a new this, we get a little girl sidekick. We get the Michael Bay stuff too.
Yeah. Very good choices too.
Mm-hmm.
Like Carly's a great choice, and her dragon slaying barbarian van.
Yeah. Everyone's got
that's really cool. And also is a little like, I don't know. There's a show that did that.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway.
So it's reminiscent of. Yeah, it's reminiscent of.
Yeah, it's an '80s thing.
He's remixing.
He's riffing.
And yeah, and it was very good, and it kind of got me excited about Transformers again. Which is unfortunate in a lot of ways, because like there's no comic other than G.I. Joe. Like this is a toy commercial. It started as a toy commercial. It remains a toy commercial, but it's interesting to me that like this living, breathing, fictional universe has grown out of it. It's independent of the toys at this point, but still isn't. It's not disentangled from it. And they're true to the original toy. As a matter of fact, Optimus Prime's hood opens and stuff, and you got the little Jeep and the little crane guy and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think the thing now that we've got going on is that the toys are their own sort of oddball thing, that's not what's really making anyone any money anymore. So these stories are allowed to be told with the nostalgia and the the throwback elements in them, but they're allowed to be like told uniquely with, in this case, almost no boundaries.
Well, I would say that again, going back to the Simon Furman stuff, particularly in Marvel UK, like there were no boundaries back then either, man. He did a lot of stuff, and it had almost nothing whatsoever to do with the cartoon. And every once in a while he would just like have to introduce a new toy. Larry Hammett did much the same thing. They were like, all right, you got to introduce this thing now, and he'd just tell wild stories around it with G.I. Joe. This does feel unique though. Having said that, Furman's thing, it was very, very different. This opens up it like I don't know, there's an artfulness to it. Like, I mean, let's look at the opening page. Volume 1, we've got scenes from Vietnam. So we've got like war, like American war, and we've got like a really bad war, helicopters and shit like that. And then we got the Ark careening towards Earth. and we got another scene from Vietnam where someone's like bleeding from the fucking face. We got Optimus Prime's dead body, and then we get I guess it's a space shuttle taking off. And like there's immediately Dad, wake up. Like there's this Optimus Prime's the ultimate dad, right? We get a dead. It starts with a dead dad.
It's clever.
Yeah, it's like it sets the fucking tone right away, and you're like, oh, okay, like someone cares about this, and someone understands also why people care about this, and why do we care about it? We care about it because like Optimus Prime died in 85, and that was it, like that. I don't
And
think
no hate on anyone's dad.
Yeah,
But Optimus Prime was the ideal father.
yeah, he's space dad. Optimus Prime is like the very best first. And then it goes to a veterans association and stuff. And so like this comic manages with very good and very, very legible art to bring us into a world, and like it's not fucking Shakespeare or anything, but like I'm like, oh great, like good. I can see why this is popular. I can see that, and it's very dense as well. Like there's a lot of information given very quickly. But
yeah, and the panel arrangements are also dense, and they're well done.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of scenescape. You get and like you say, not only is it legible, but it's the action's clean and clear.
Mm-hmm. Extremely.
And fast. Like the fighting later. Anyway, we'll get into that. Is
well,
unbelievable.
Yeah. We there's some weird ticks in this. Yeah, I can't wait to get into. But it's big at the same time as it's small. And the art is reminiscent of like Paul Pope. It's got a lot of detail at the same time though, where Paul Pope is all like, this is very, the machinery has a lot of machinery. The landscapes are very majestic. Like that when they realize, although I don't understand how they ended up in the fucking engines of the Ark, like I'll just let that go. Doesn't quite make any physical sense.
Falling from a cavern and ending up standing in the edge there. That's okay. We'll give that a pass.
Yeah, whatever. It must have been a hell of an earthquake. But yeah, and well, how else are they going to do it? Let's not waste any time. Little weaving the magic wand and boom. That here are the Transformers.
Not only that, they're walking in through the engine and just ending up straight in the actual.
Yes, in a thing that is like miles long. So
yeah, and they're in the heart of it in the engine room where the AI exists.
Yeah, like right at the front, and then Jetfire flies in through a portal in the front, and so like I don't understand. Like none of this matters while you're reading it.
No, actually, it didn't until you brought it up. I didn't really think about it.
Yeah, right. And they're just like, well, the kid's got to find the thing somewhere, and you need a majestic image to bring them in. And like, yeah, like this isn't a complaint. It's just kind of a funny.
It's actually done well enough to have you disregard that.
Yeah.
For the aggression of the story.
Yeah. Which
is where
fine.
Teletran 1, a space-aged artificial intelligence, decides to resurrect Starscream immediately.
Well, that's because of
making
Jetfire.
It the worst fucking AI.
I thought it was Jetfire that made that decision. I suppose you're right though. Like I'm not sure who made the decision. Maybe it made the decision because Jetfire was there, and they're he's old friends.
And Starscream wasn't the closest to the computer either, so that logic's out.
Oh yeah, you're right. Well, anyway, Starscream's back, and yeah, again, this is all for the Nookie,
This is all for This is also Starscream can shoot Bumblebee's face off.
Yeah.
To let me know that this book's a heavy fucking metal.
Yeah.
Right away.
Again, that's the Transformers the movie, but also, and I keep saying this, and I'm sorry, but it's also the Simon Furman thing. Like he murdered Autobots and Decepticons left and right. Like nobody was safe. And those comics are exciting as a consequence. And so like good, like we need this. When the Ninja Turtles fight with pepperoni sticks, I'm out, like I gotta.
There's no stakes.
Mhm.
There's
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't like, we don't, I'm sure we'll get into a ton of it. Um, but yeah, like the first time Optimus Prime comes in, like never, like again, Transformers the movie. We're getting all our favorite moments. Only, only there's all these new wrestling moves that Optimus Prime performs. Like it's very, this is
absolute beauty of a German suplex.
yeah. Um,
I believe
yeah,
Optimus Prime gets a tombstone
he does. Yeah, later on.
later in the book. Soundwave maybe delivers that to him.
I think so. Yeah. We're getting like punched in the like kicked in the shoulder by Ratchet. Um, I love the sound effects, but the choice of wrestling, because this Warren guy, he has one of his early, I don't know, I don't know a lot about him, but I understand it to be the case that like an early, maybe it's a creator owned work or something, like it's a do a power bomb or something like that. It's a wrestling comic. He's clearly very into the wrestling.
I'm
And
okay with it.
yeah, it's an interesting choice. Because you don't associate wrestling moves with action comics or whatever, even though it is like wrestling's a pretty ubiquitous form of I don't want to call it a martial entertainment martial art, like the I'll just call it a ballet, a very very prominent form of dance fighting. And so why not bring it in? It's
Also, like he has two panels basically that show wrestling moves. In the first intro of Optimus Prime, there's a clothesline and that German suplex, and
yeah
I can imagine the full range of movement because of the familiarity with wrestling moves.
yeah
Right?
yeah
So it's just like you can really like you didn't have to give me more than one panel because I know what happens during a German suplex. You do as
yeah
well.
yeah yeah
Even so it's actually like it's kind of clever. And it's a nice. It doesn't. I don't think it hurts anything.
No, it's awesome. And like it's just a little tick, It's just like he's bringing this sauce, Like this is the action I like to draw. Like, and it's a children's book to an extent. And so why not like work in a popular, like wrestling violence is, I don't know, pretty safe. I mean, I'm not sure if that's the right word for it, but it's not the same as like you don't get a lot of like let's compare it to like a sort of UFC style fighting. You don't get anyone like full mounting and beating the shit out of anyone. It's much more operatic, and even though there's fucking bodies, man, people fucking get gunned down uh and so on. But yeah, the violence is very cartoony in a sort of wrestling way, and then also the action is I'm thinking when he's fighting Devastator, and he like runs up his body and stuff like that, like well, maybe it's just I'm thinking about Hong Kong action at the moment, and so I'm thinking it's Hong Kong action ish. Um, yeah,
Yeah. The action is big and fast. And it moves nice. We're picking up Bumblebee's corpse. We're getting our head ripped off by Starscream. Ravage gets fucking done dirty.
it's not. This is when he kicks the dog.
Optimus fucking just unloads his first shot with his big ass gun on the
Oh
dog.
yeah, right.
Just fucking John Wick's Ravage there. It's beautiful.
I have no choice.
I like that it's a continuing thing too. Like that Soundwave throughout like whatever fucking 10 issues is trying to resurrect Ravage.
Yeah, like there's a heart.
That's such a weird.
Yeah, I think there's a so Transformers is a concept. It is about And you saw this in the cartoon as well. I don't think it got picked up a lot in the comics that I'm aware of, but like it's about environmental catastrophe in a lot of ways. Like the Decepticons want energon, and so that involves like stealing all the water from the desert, or getting like taking over a dam, or harnessing the power of electricity and causing global storms, and all for the purposes of just stripping a planet of resources for the purposes of warfare and conquest. And this comic leans more into that in a way that is very appropriate in our day, right? Like it's the proper theme that you'd want to pick up for this comic, like particularly when Soundwave and I love this is much later, obviously. Like, did you read all the way up to issue 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. When he sees those whales, he's like, they're beautiful, these organic creatures. And then he does a Mr. Burns and like sucks them into a machine.
Yeah, chews them all up. Yeah, that was Shockwave, eh?
A Shockwave, not Soundwave. Yeah, pardon me. All these waves. Yeah, so that's the thing. And then, sorry, the reason I said that is because like Ravage is a dog, and the injury of the dog, like it's kind of a cheap way of attaching emotion to someone, but like Soundwave has concerns, about his pet, but those concerns about his pet are tied to the larger theme in a sort of tangential way. So it's nice to see. Gives him heart.
Yeah, it's true. He also has he turns into, well, obviously he's also a monster, but they toy with him being like sort of a more sensible negotiator.
Yeah.
And tactician.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit later, where Starscream's just like a ludicrous like war general who's bad at everything, which is like, and he does a good job at kind of telling this new story and keeping in sort of character for all of these original people. Like Soundwave and Ratchet are done so well. So like Optimus Prime's just class A. Optimus Prime, just a great take on the character, a great take on the emotional depth and the concern for the planet. And then like you say, that all leans into the planet being destroyed and drained of its resources, and more emphasis on the death of nature and death of animals due to whatever, an invasive species, right?
Yeah, more than that, a violent and militaristic species, when Optimus steps on that fucking deer, that's great. Like it's perfect.
So jarring. That actually stayed with me more than a lot of the other events in this book. Well, and he just holds it.
Yeah.
And he's fucking heartbroken.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. He and it's comical almost, but it's very emblematic of like all of Optimus Prime's concerns about this. He's a warrior who really doesn't want to be a warrior, who's facing like a problem that, like, this intractable problem of these. I don't know what the Decepticons' motivation is yet. I'm kind of hoping that that's going to come across at some point. Like they're still pretty like, we're gonna, because they view the Autobots as, I'm gathering, and I just feel that there's a lot more of a story to tell, like, of the source of Decepticon evil in this version. But they seem to treat the Autobots as some sort of thought virus, some sort of like, they need to be exterminated because of how they think and how they view the world, and not necessarily anything else. Because what's the first thing Starscream says when he's resurrected? Like he points to the Autobot symbol, like he's talking with Jetfire, and Jetfire is characterized properly as well, as a fucking hapless dupe. Fuck it, where can I find it? Just before he shoots Bumblebee's fucking face off. Trust me when I say this marking is the sign of of true evil. We must be vigilant in wiping it out. Like, I'm very curious about that. Like, I don't know if it's ever going to amount to anything, but I bet it will, because there's always these sort of flashbacks to the before times.
Yeah, and I mean, like you say, I mean, because we haven't gotten like the motivation's been whack. It's just been like get them, you know. And Starscream didn't help with that. Starscream's like, I'm okay with that because Starscream's kind of just like an agent of chaos and pure evil.
Yeah.
So the fact that he didn't have a cohesive plan or anything constructive to say is just so on brand that I'm okay with it.
Yeah, his squishing of humans was a little. I'm not going to say it was a little much, but I think it's a little more than. And maybe it's just something it makes a lot of sense for Starscream. I don't think it's anything we've seen before in the cartoons, obviously, but it's certainly not above him.
No, I don't think so either, and I really enjoyed it because it's a logical, intrusive thought when you're talking when you're thinking about Transformers. When you're like, giant robots that turn into vehicles that turn into giant robots and they're giant war machines. If you're having that dumb guy nerd conversation and you're like, well, if a giant robot saw a little gross little human, they'd just squish him, you know. So let's play that out. So and they did, and to horrific effect.
and they did it. Okay, so I bought the first issue from the stands, and so I sat with this for a little bit, and then but that final image made me buy issue 2. I was like, okay, all right, I see what's going on here. So pathetic. I love the.
Was that the final issue?
Yeah, that's the final
image.
Yeah.
I didn't realize because I read it through in the trade.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that was the end of the issue.
Yeah. So I was like, good for you guys. You really did it.
Good for you guys. Stop, Girk. Squish.
Yeah. So squishy. I want to take a moment. So this is a perfect opportunity to do it. I just want to. Who's the letterer? Is it still the same guy, or is it a different person? Is the artist doing the lettering as well? Because the lettering in this is
Russ Wooten is doing the lettering. He is a separate entity.
Okay, yeah, Russ Wooten, fucking fantastic. Like if he's doing like the sound effects in the background, the boom and the patois and the beep 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 beep. This thing is replete with sound effects that are incorporated into the art seamlessly. This guy deserves, if it is in fact the letterer doing the sound effects, then if they're not nominated for an Eisner, not that I give a shit about the Eisners, but I would just like to see this guy recognized as having done something very, very good. And if it's the artist themselves, then fuck, great, they should get an Eisner too, I guess. Why not? Eisners for all.
And then issue 2 opens up with "This world, what beauty, unbelievable," and Optimus also crushes an organic life form. That was the deer you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's so much care taken in those panels.
Mm-hmm.
It's so like visceral, and just in those couple of pages with Optimus and the conversation about the world.
It's kind of a Mr. Rogers kind of moment for him. Like they're both encountering death in the natural world and like talking about it. And also like immediately going to the subject of dads and families. This comic, and that's like the opening. Like, again, it doesn't waste any time. It's like, okay, we need some heart. We need heart. Quick, as fast as possible. And we get the first. So totally absent from all of this up until this point has been Megatron.
Yes.
And even here we get the first glimpse. He's one of many we've been fighting for centuries, among others. And everybody's waiting. I'm waiting, for Megatron to fucking make it. Like, it's probably gonna be pretty epic. He's made it. Spoilers. He's showed up in. I think he showed up in the fuck, I saw some. I clicked on some clickbait. It was there's another series about Cobra Commander. I think he shows up in that at the end. Megatron does, or maybe it's the Destro thing. So they're doing Megatron's out there doing something.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're really bringing Megatron through the book, like not letting you forget about him.
oh yeah, that's right, because he shows up in the ice or whatever later, doesn't he?
Yeah,
But yeah,
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 and
you're right.
and
Yeah,
that I'll spoiler. Optimus
sure.
rips his own arm off to beat fucking who was it? Thundercracker? One of
Maybe.
these fucking goon jet guys. Anyway, he
Yeah,
beats the dog shit out of him with his own arm that he rips off his own body, which is just
yeah.
fucking amazing to behold. Just any Optimus Prime that you thought you saw be a fucking awesome man is
Yeah.
amplified in this somehow. And yeah, he does him in and then replaces his own arm later with Megatron's arm, which I'm not clear on how they acquired.
Well, that's it. You know, like he opens up the back trailer and
It's
they're
like,
like,
well,
"Whoa,
we got
can't
this
use-"
old thing. Oh, I can't
Yeah.
use that one.
No, it's yeah. There's so much fan service contained within that, but it's also it's symbolically charged. Like you know, getting back to the deer that got stepped on, and Optimus's own deep concerns about bringing the war to a peaceful planet, well, so-called peaceful planet. Um, yeah, you know, like that arm is that's the symbol for that. You know, that's the symbol for his inner conflict. You know, him being like his enemy, using the tactics of his enemy. Uh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he even increases his offensive after he gets it,
Mm,
which is
um,
I really like Carly. Um, I like her for sort of a replacement for Spike.
mhm.
Um, I I like her attitude and her motivation. I like that they just fridged her family and she becomes sort of a warmonger.
Yeah,
She wants revenge, and I don't know, for whatever reason that just it tickles me. Her punchiness and her relationship with Cliff Jumper, and how sideways all of that is going so quickly in these books.
yeah. I think that's something taken from the Michael Bay movies. Like, whereas Michael Bay's Transformers movies are an advertisement for enlisting in the American military. Sign up today. Super awesome to be part of the military. This is you know, this is like not that, but like it still makes sense to put human soldiers in this world. And so Spike's dad is a soldier, and but I guess like one of the other sons that got lost is an astronaut. So that's cool. I bet he'll come back later somehow. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Um, and then and she gets killed by basically a terrorist attack, and Carly's parents, sorry, gets killed in the terrorist attack, or collateral damage, you know, in. But yeah, but it's not even like don't they just show up and fucking murder everybody or something? It's all kind of a haze. The action so much.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah, her motivation makes a lot of sense. You're like that's just me agreeing with you.
the Starscream jet fighter fight was phenomenal also.
Oh yeah, and this is a rare moment where I'm not going to say why can't we see this in fucking superhero comics? Where's all this in Captain America? Because like this is exactly where it belongs. This doesn't need to be anywhere else. I like normally I'd be a little resentful of this degree of cartooning and skill of cartooning and writing located in a children's cartoon, like a toy advertisement cartoon. But yeah, like I'm just like, no, that's cool. You know, it's as good a place as any. Like it doesn't make any difference between this and giving it to Captain America or giving it to Batman or whatever. Like they're all just selling shit right? So this
Oh
is
my God.
you know.
I just noticed that it was Duke that shot Starscream in the eye.
Oh, right. No kidding, huh? Okay.
Yeah, check out the badge on his flight suit. Ever sick.
Yeah.
All right,
Uh,
that's nice. Little Easter egg for you there.
yeah. Well, this kicked off the Skybound Hasbro universe essentially. Like they're doing Hickman. Is it Hickman? No, like is his name Robert
Yeah,
Hickman? No, it's not
Hickman was in there somewhere. I thought he was doing something with
well,
them.
who's the Walking Dead guy? What's that guy's fucking name?
Kirkman, sorry, excuse me.
Kirkman.
Robert Kirkman.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
probably said Hickman earlier too.
You. Oh yeah. So sorry.
Yep.
Sorry, Kirkman for
Kirkman.
associating you with that bum.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Well, I think it's appropriate that Kirkman's doing this too. Like Kirkman's not a great creator, but what he's very good at is sort of remixing old genres. You know, like he's perfect for an era in which nostalgia and repurposing old product for the purposes of like intellectual property. I don't know what I'm not like predation, right? You know, just like taking some old thing, selling an old package, making it a little bit fresher, putting it out there, and making some money, and you know, according to the sort of like algorithm of the present moment. He's fantastic for that, and this product is A plus in that range. I think that's another reason I don't mind this degree of craft attached to this product, because this is fucking stupid. It's about transform. Soundwave turns into a tape recorder, you know, like it's so fucking dumb. None of
It's
this
so dumb until so dumb until Laserbeak attacks them in that house, and you're like, oh fuck yeah. That was
yeah.
That was a bit of a Michael Bay ripoff too, actually, because Michael Bay's Laserbeak attacked in that office, and it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, this is a much cooler Laserbeak because he looks like Laserbeak.
He's the old school Laserbeak, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know, in this. Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot my train of thought on that one. Other than I guess I would just complain more about how this, you know, being a nostalgia remix fest. But I just wanted to put that out there once, you know, just so anyone listening isn't thinking that we're not aware of this. But
I know they're out there somewhere. There's also a Walking Dead fan that's like, "Fuck you, bro." But
oh yeah, well, fuck you back, huh? I'm throwing my middle finger up at you too. Huh?
Just giving him the Eminem treatment.
That's right. What do you see what I say about your mama later? Yeah. So getting back to the Carly thing, that's what sent me on this tangent somehow. The relationship with, we'll go back to the relationship with Cliffjumper. Nice to, I forget where I read it. I think it was in the letters page. They were like, how come Bumblebee got killed and Cliffjumper got kept? Because he's basically like a red Bumblebee. And he was kind of like, Cliffjumper never got any love, and I wanted to change that. And I was like, frankly, thank you. I like how this, for the old fans, obviously you can't not have Optimus Prime, but like there's some weirdos here. You know, the ones like later on we're gonna see, like, what's that dude that shows up, the Sunstreaker or whatever, right? What's that?
Beachcomber?
Beachcomber, yeah. Like, what the fuck?
Beachcomber the pacifist, man. He's back.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah. Like,
I love that. Yeah. Well, it's true. There's a you know, love it or hate it, or tell me it's shallow and that every fucking Transformer was just a random stereotype. That's fine. But there is an elaborate cast of characters available to you that already have sort of preordained personalities. Each one of the motherfuckers got themselves a little episode, something weird that fucking happened in the 80s. And if you want to dip in there, you can just draw on that personality. You don't have to give any backstory from it, and you could deliver that personality to the page. And he does that with Cliffjumper. We pick Cliffjumper and we just do away with Bumblebee. Bumblebee's tired. Michael Bay played him out Everybody
Yeah.
else played him out. Original Transformers cartoon played him out. Shoot him in the face. Fuck it. There's 100 other guys to pick from, and they're still going to be fun, and it's going to put a little bit of a spin on it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I find myself interested. I think if it was Bumblebee, I'd be like, well, what fucking Bumblebee are we going to get this time? Like, why do I care? Seen this a million times. It's like Wolverine picking up another girl to tutor, um, or to guide through, like into becoming. Well, that makes it sound sexual. I was going to say guide to becoming a woman.
Oi.
Yeah, that's a little different.
They call that grooming nowadays.
Yeah, and then like they build that emotional connection like all the time, and that's a classic and very important part of the Transformers stew. Like you've got your little humans that are bopping around, and normally that's annoying. Like it's so hard to do well to have like the humans around and make them an important part.
It is. It is.
Yeah,
And it was very much the annoying level was achieved by Michael Bay in a way that we'd never seen previously.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. And in this instance, like the way that Spike gets injured, he becomes I forget who the character was that was in the wheelchair in like the scientist character in Transformers. He kind of takes that position by the end of this. Spike. And so he's probably going to be wearing that cybernetic suit later, like my dad's exosuit. We'll probably see the exosuit later, but
could be if we have time among the butchering and torture.
It's true. But Carly, she makes the connection with Cliffjumper, who has an opportunity to murder someone to end the fighting and chooses not to. Like there these people, the Autobots obviously are willing to engage in warfare, but like that well, they're just tired. We're tired of killing people. Don't want to do it anymore. And then she resents him for that. Because I guess the parents get killed afterwards, or do they get killed before? I don't recall. And then later on, she makes that connection with RC, like she the Iron Apprentice or something like that. So she's gonna enter into the action as a sort of child soldier, and we get kind of like a Robin Jubilee scenario, but she's much more. It's part of a lineage thing, it gets back to that family, like, like that thing she had with Ultra Magnus, she's going to do now with Carly. Yeah, it's just it's a tradition, but it just fits in seamlessly, and it's nice, and you're like, okay, great, like I wonder how that's going to play out. What kind of friendship is going to emerge? What kind of small talk even?
Yeah, it's true, and the way that I don't know, I'm just really enjoying the selection of characters. I'm enjoying the slow burn, like honestly, it's the same. Like for me, Megatron has the same dynamic. He is seriously.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. I know he's the warlord. I know. He's so strong. He's so calculating. He's so evil. He's just so fucking good at it. That's great. And it's the same. And I feel like not only do I have Starscream as my agent of chaos here doing away with Bumblebee, we're also going to do away with Starscream, who's also fucking tired.
Yeah.
Optimus is never tired.
No.
That's not possible.
No.
You can give it all to me all the time.
Yeah.
But ripping his own arm off, fuck yeah. Anyway, sorry, got sidetracked. But
I'm looking at it too.
Megatron's tired. If you're gonna bring him back, I need to see something new. I'm really good with Soundwave killing Starscream and getting rid of him also. I'm really good with the introduction of Shockwave. I'm really good with the introduction of like them being horrible torturers. They're the worst kind of warfare race. And I like the Vietnam juxtaposition too, where we're gonna see these robots that have been at war for X amount of centuries are capable of horrible atrocities against each other.
Yeah.
Just crimes, and that's us. That's a mirror for us and humans and our warfare tactics and our capability for evil. And it's just it's there in the subtext all the time, but like I said, it's just one of those things that's like, what about if these races are actually at war? What about all the awful things that you see in war? Well, let's give you that. It's another one of those things, and it's just very aware of itself, and it's well done in that way.
Yeah, up and down. It's theme. It's kind of it's. I'll say at this point, it's like I do think it's because up until now my favorite Transformers product was the Transformers G.I. Joe 13 issue thing that Tom Scioli had done, which I sent you a little. I was like, we got to do this next.
Yeah, we're gonna dip. You demanded.
Yeah, because I up until now that was my kind of my favorite thing. And it's I think it was sort of born of, I don't know if it actually, maybe the timeline's wrong on that, but it's in that era when like X-Men Grand Design was coming out and this and that. Like they were giving the Ed Piskor crew license to just handle stuff and just see what they do with it, and that was an example of that sort of genre. I don't know where this is going. This Transformer series, I got a feeling that it's just going to kind of fart out at some point when the writer leaves. I'm very like the writer artist combo. Like everything's solid, and like I hope at the very least there's not some sort of abrupt ending and like everybody gets their crescendo, and like I think there's a big story being told here.
Yeah, me too. And I have two trades, and I do not feel like it's tapering off. I feel like he's approaching new angles here by the time we get to issue 10, and I'm really hopeful also. And I'm, if I get 3 trades out of this before, like you say, it farts out, I'll be okay with that too. But new use of the Matrix, the weird absorption of drunk Vietnam spark plug into Optimus's soul.
That's
okay
cool
too. Let's do that.
Yeah. Well, I think this speaks to what you're talking about. Like, okay, obviously it's about dads, and so like Optimus Prime is going to literally absorb the guy's dad. He's going to have flashbacks to like raising Spike, but also like it goes back to the other comment about like they are us, we are them. They're they're mirrors of each other, and this comic's a hit. This thing's selling books. I don't know how well it's doing now. I didn't look up the sales, but like there's a lot of heat behind this series. I think the nerds are responding to it extremely well, and so are we. Yeah,
and I didn't even know it existed until I bought issue 7, and I was like, wait a second, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And that's when you already had it on your radar because I brought it up to you, and you were like, oh damn, you're getting into that book. And I think that's was like, I flipped this book open because I'm over to issue 7 here, and I saw Cup just get fucking Cup and Warpath just get shot in the face, and that was this book 7's the infamous Ultra Magnus 150 years of torture scene.
Yeah.
And it's fucking awful. And there was, I actually read an article online that scene had like was like triggering or whatever. I was like, what is going on in this Transformers book? And I never came back around to it. But then when I saw it, and then when that's the issue where Soundwave just brutally murders Starscream and takes over, and it's fucking awesome. And also props for giving Soundwave some fucking
props.
Props for giving Soundwave some props. Give it to him. Let him know. So that was, I don't know.
He's always such a loyal, like he's up there with he's the most loyal Megatron toady. Like whatever fucking awful stuff Megatron's ever gotten up to. Fine, I don't know. The relationship between Megatron and Starscream is like not something we need to get to in this conversation. It's a very weird dynamic. It's almost a masochism on the part of Megatron. But you just get the impression that like Soundwave has his own position in the, like right hand man of the ultimate warlord, probably for a reason. Um, and it was nice to see. Like it feels totally a little weird for him to suddenly assert himself, but on the other hand, I'm like, good, finally, that's what I wanted.
Yeah, well, he just had enough. He's like, you had your chance, you failed.
Yeah.
Let's go. But then all of a sudden he's like at 80 times the warrior. And why were you letting this guy run around like a fucking chicken to begin with?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, this Jorge Corona guy, it is different art, but it's got many of the same qualities as Warren or whatever.
Yeah, it's in
Johnson.
keeping. And I didn't feel the transition too heavily, which is rare and I like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually when I picked out, because my LCS had some, I don't know, here's a little nerd thing for variant covers. I know you're not a fan. I'm generally not a fan, but in this case, I had choices when I went to the comic store, and I actually chose Jorge's covers because I thought that his 7, 8, and 9 were nicer.
Okay.
So there you go. There you
Yeah.
have it. That's the fucking review. I liked the who was that? It's Thundercracker that had like pity on the humans too. I like that there's like humanizing of the warriors on the aircraft carrier. Yeah, he's like, let them go. They can't do anything to us, leader. Like there's no reason for it. We have like what we need. Then Soundwave, motherfucker. No witnesses. Regrettable.
Yeah.
Just roast all those people in life rafts.
No, it helps to give them like the bad guys are given a sense of honor, even if and so we know who the real bad guys are by the fact that they break that code of honor. It kind of reminds me of this talk of war crimes. I have no patience for that phrase. If you're engaged in war, you've committed a crime from day fucking one. And so you can't tell me like what's a war fucking crime. I don't understand. It like you're just being more of a criminal. Fine. Like you can describe that that gradation of perversity and cruelty. But the moment you're like start shooting bullets at someone in order to like fucking kill them, like you've engaged in a crime. So nonetheless, that's a little rant, but I mean it's inspired by this distinction between like the honorable Decepticon. I mean their fucking names are Decepticon. So where's the honor in that? And then the like Shockwave, who's torturing people, and Starscream, who murders innocents or whatever. Like they're dramatizing that charade as part of this, this idea of war crimes. And it works. It's cool. I get it.
Yeah, it's a nice little commentary, I think too.
Yeah.
And then they move that over into the what the fuck did they do to who was the guy that they put in the fucking Teletran?
Oh,
Skywarp. They didn't have any fucking. They didn't have enough parts, so they just mutilated their own bro and built him into Teletran 1, and he's fucking with Wheeljack the whole time.
That's another instance where I feel I'm going to do it again. Take a drink, audience. The Simon Furman influence. Also later when Ratchet gets shot, I swear to God, there's a cover of a Transformers comic with that image of Ratchet, like Ratchet's mutilated body. I think there's a visual, purposeful echo in that moment to the Marvel UK comics, which is interesting to see. You know who I didn't ever think would be made into a fucking badass? And this is very not in keeping with anything we've seen before, is Astro Train.
Oh, he's so fucking big.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I buy this 100%. Astro Train, right?
Yeah, he's a train.
Yeah,
He's the
he's
size of a
huge.
fucking train, and that would be heavier, more dense materials, and he'd be a space shuttle, which would
Yeah,
be literally like he was a troop transport in the movie. Why should he
yeah,
be a little bitch? Well, he's not.
yeah. He sure is not. And he wants to fucking kill Megatron. And again, it's one of those ways, and they keep Megatron in the background. They're like, everybody's whispering if Megatron wasn't here, and everybody's like, shut up. Um, and then this guy got locked up because of Megatron. Like, there's all these things. He's this present absence, um, waiting to be revealed. Like, and I have every faith that whatever story they want to tell, it's going to be like when Zorn takes off his helmet and it's Magneto. Only it's going to make more sense. You're just going to be like, wow, it's going to be amazing.
I'm really hoping for that, and I'm hoping they have time to get to it before art or writing fizzles, like you say. It feels
Yeah.
like this has a treatment, though. Like there was a treatment. Here's what happens. No, 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 and then Megatron's revealed, and then we
Yep.
go from there. And I really hope that somebody at editorial got to see all that and was like, "Oh fuck yeah."
Well, it's Kirkman, man. It's like they got Kirkman money behind this, and
Well, if Kirkman too, if you know Kirkman, man, I don't know if you treated yourself to any Walking Dead, but he plays the long game.
yeah, he certainly. Yeah, no, I read 100 issues of that shit. I followed around. Um, yeah, I think the audience is there for it. I think we're here for it. I think I'm gonna add a subscription to this, and I'll follow it. Um, and yeah, keep it going. I think if there's another thing, audience, if you could do two things for the Extinction Agenda. One, you could tell one person about our not this product tonight, because this is a very this is a conversation for you and I, dear audience. For us.
This is for only, you know what? If you go to sleep at night and think about Optimus Prime, this episode was for you.
Yeah. And then the other thing you can do, I guess, if this episode is for you, you too can go to your local comic shop and say, give me an issue of Transformers, because yeah, I'd like to see this come to its proper fruition. I want to see what they're up to, and like I know at a certain point it's just gonna do that thing that every long form media thing does, and it's gonna bore me. I know that's gonna happen, but we haven't got there yet. And it feels like we're not going to get there for a while. I can put up with a lot of bullshit on this one. It's got Chris Claremont energy, except for the sex. I mean, maybe we'll get into that later, but I hope not. It doesn't seem like that.
I hope that's excluded. I could do without that here.
Yeah, well, it's like the robots in disguise don't need to also be fucking, right? It's
if Optimus drops Trow on Elita 1, I'm gonna have a problem on my hands.
Well, you know what? I'll at least what's the problem on your hands? That made it sound very sexual, actually.
Jesus. Yeah. No, I hope it's not that kind of problem either.
Yeah.
I like how Astro Train threatens to kill all the sick people in the hospital, but then backs down from it in an act of honor, just to steal a guy. Well, that gets back to the thing.
Yeah. Just exactly. Like, is there any better metaphor for like the getting back to my fucking rant about war crimes? Like, that's what a great metaphor for that. Like, I'll kill all of you just to take this crippled person for torture.
For torture and
Look
experiments.
at how honorable I am. Yeah.
That's
okay.
Right. No
guys.
war crime committed here. Whoops.
I was shit, I already forgot his name. The pacifist dude. Who's the fucking
Beachcomber.
Beachcomber. What is my inability to? I'm gonna write this down. I like that. That's such a weird. And again, this gets to the surprise of this. Like, I would have never expected. Like, you know what? Beachcomber's gonna show up, and he's been alive this for fucking millions of years, just hanging around on the moon, just like enjoying the cosmos. Like, he's like this hippie guy. In the background, it's interesting. And you get this
The
story very, very simply.
yeah, and I like that that's in keeping with the old cartoon episode, the Golden Lagoon, personal favorite.
Yeah, I do remember that one. It was one of the ones that, yeah.
It was a peaceful, it was like an oasis, and he knew that if the energy there was exposed to the warring factions, even despite the fact that it would have helped his brothers, he didn't expose it.
Doesn't he turn
Because
into
he
human
knew
at the end?
I don't know.
I thought I have a recollection of him turning into like a human with like robot feet and staying in the paradise afterwards, but that's completely, that could easily be just made up.
Yeah. Fever dream, but like a kind of a woke fever dream.
Maybe.
The Combaticons entry was amazing also. Merge to form, fucking Elita closes the portal.
Yeah, you're like good.
Chops them in half and Buddy dives through and it's just a shit show. It's good.
Yeah, fucking.
This was just fun with the rolling out with old Ultra Magnus's corpse on the back. I hope he comes back for a fucking absolute heyday of murder.
Oh, because like this, like he's basically a skeleton at this point. Like as you were saying, he's been tortured for 150 years, and they do a really good job of like, I figured out that it was Ultra Magnus there, but like they do it in really good comic fashion where they doll out the little bits to you, and you're like, and you're waiting for the reveal. Am I right? Am I right? Oh, I'm right. And you're like, oh fuck, I'm right. And what does that, what emotional beats will emerge from that? It very much manages to be sort of a, getting back to the Chris Claremont thing. Like this is a very elaborate soap opera.
Exactly. Because what does the tortured for 150 years warlord revitalized Ultra Magnus look like?
Yeah, I'm curious to find out. Is he going to be?
You don't want that smoke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is he going to join Beachcomber?
Yeah.
Just
right.
Like, I'll never fight again.
Yeah. or he's like, not that. Frankly, it's only Robert Stack that makes us think that Ultra Magnus is worth anything. But and the fact that he appears to be like sort of a Optimus Prime twin, like the fact that they painted the same toy white and gave him the trailer and stuff,
and gave us a shittier trailer.
Yeah, something about that though, like cemented his status somehow. Like the comic didn't earn it, the movie didn't earn it. It's sort of a symbolic victory on his part. So I think we're going to get the first. Maybe we'll get to know the real Ultra Magnus for the first time.
Well, I fucking hope so. I have a high hope because like you say, I think my acceptance of the Robert Stack Ultra Magnus is that he had confidence in his own voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he spoke, he meant it, but didn't deliver. Like a confident friend who's bad at everything, like me.
Just Stack over here.
Fucking Cliff Jumper is about to get tortured all to hell too. And there's Beachcomber and the Cliff Jumper. Is that Cliff Jumper and Jazz going to the old torture chamber?
Oh yeah, that's like being in Unicron, isn't it?
There's some urgency there. That's not good.
Yeah, he's like, and they're being tortured. It's not like they're going to be. It's like, it is best not to dwell on such things. I wish I could do a good fucking Soundwave robot voice. It is can't be done.
And Soundwave is the guy you're talking about, a guy that's just like, he killed people because they were witnesses, and he doesn't even have the stomach for this.
Yeah. We just don't think about what Soundwave gets up to. And they both have Wave in their name. Like, I get the impression that they are brothers or something. They're part of the same. So they keep using this word tribe or clan or something like that. Like, there's a social structure that is being evoked in the background of all of this, like a politics of the Transformers that I don't like. I don't think we've seen before. Like what is their civilization? How does that shit work? And again, this is probably expecting too much, but like the origins of the war has to be contained in this concept of family. I think that's the most responsible and intellectually honest position this comic can take. And maybe that's expecting too much of a toy commercial, but I just feel that that's what's going to happen here, you know. And like, what's Megatron's relation in all this? You know, I just have so many questions. And it's rare a comic that leads me to speculating, even passively, because usually I see it all. Like, and I don't mean that in a dick way. I just you and we've read a lot of shit, right?
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of
Don't think that.
Transformers. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty much I have an expectation of where we're headed and what we're doing. Here, I'm not sure. I'm sure
Yeah.
we killed Ratchet, we killed Bumblebee. We're simple things like that. We haven't revealed Megatron. We killed
Yep.
Starscream. So we're capable of like horrific torture. We obviously can't repair ourselves properly here. And it's just like the expectations changed. I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't know how you're going to adjust to characterization. I have Elita 1, I have RC, who are really flushed out well, looking cool, wheeljacks on his heels. It's just there's a lot going on right now, and there's a lot of great movement. There's characters that are like being like pulled from the weeds, that are just like sort of adding new angles. And yeah, like you say, the soap opera's growing and changing.
And maybe finally I get to mention Hickman properly, in a I meant to reference. It's the House of X, all that resurrecting mutant shit. This comic gets to do that, but it actually gets to do it in a way that makes sense. It doesn't have to be this elaborate plot device. It's just like they're robots, and there's a machine that can rebuild them because they're robots. And so Starscream could be back at any time. Megatron's going to be back. Anyone who dies, like some people are actually even resurrected momentarily until and then they're put away again, because it's all about whether they have enough energy to rebuild. And that terrain, that ground floor, is in and of itself something that opens up possibilities for storytelling. And then layer on top of that everything else. Like, yeah, if it isn't clear, I have a extremely grudging respect for this comic. It's far better than it has any business being.
Well, that's the yeah.
Not the dick joke I really wanted to end the episode on, if I'm honest. But I'm sure we'll find a way.
Now all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.